Everyone has a guru, someone to help us see things in a new way or provide insight. For many years, I got my hair cut by a guy named Thor. I had never actually met Thor, but when I called the salon to make the appointment, they said, well, you can pick from John, Susie, or Thor. I was like, well, wow, I just gotta go with a guy named Thor. Thor was a Vidal Sassoon trained stylist. He said that a haircut was always about shape. And actually, most things in life were about discernible form and shape. Over the years, Thor had many prominent clients, and sometimes he shared those stories with me. One of my favorite stories was about when Thor was asked to cut the hair of Margaret Thatcher when she was visiting Chicago and staying at the Four Seasons Hotel. I like the story because I had always just assumed that Thor was a super lib, but he only had the nicest things to say about his experience working with Margaret Thatcher. She had had her hair colored in the city before visiting Chicago, and Thor noticed that it was a little darker shade than the color he normally associated with her hair color. She said, yes, it's very face framing, isn't it? I was struck by that because it's an example of seeing something in a different way without the need for casting dispersions or displeasure. It's the best kind of face framing imaginable. Welcome to Illinois Bridging Awareness. I'm Stanley Smith. In Illinois Bridging Awareness, I think we've all gotten out of the business of trying to figure it all out. Many of us on the Saturday call mentioned that we're actually remarkably calm right now, not because we have all the answers, but because we believe in our hearts that it's all going to work out. Part of that is being open to see things that are working in the world that are beyond our idea of what it means to work it out. I know that not many of the people on our call are church people, but I still am. And I can tell you that there's a real synergy right now between the lectionary readings each week and what's going on in the world. I think one could see that the Bible is in many ways the original conspiracy theory source. If you follow it, you can see the difference between what people think it is and what their expectations are and what's really going on. It's not easy to do. We actually usually want to have a firm grip on things, and that's why I was so encouraged to hear that many people on a call are doing a pretty good job of being calm and accepting, even though they don't fully understand what's going on. We all need to be calm, open, and aware and watching for what's coming into the world. On the Saturday call, we discussed that we may not see this collectively, but we might see it first individually. And after we see it individually as a personal revelation, it might then enter the world as a greater collective experience or national revelation. It's somewhat counter to what one might expect. Of course, none of this means that we're not just plenty busy here in Illinois taking action and being a catalyst for change. Currently, we're following the New Illinois story and the creation of a General Assembly here in Illinois. As soon as we track down all the credible sources and forms of action required, we'll be offering this as an endorsement for action. We have about 12 truths we're following here in Illinois, such as everything a truth teller is telling us is probably not true, and not everything those we disagree with is false. Also, if the world is seeming like a dim place right now, perhaps that's because you're being called to be the light in these challenging times. Also, if you're being assailed by naysayers right now, that's to be expected. And I encourage you not to be discouraged. One truth I'm working on personally right now is the idea of Instead of seeing the glass as half full or half empty, we need to get rid of this glass. With the glass, statistically, there's always going to be a winner and a loser. But without the glass, perhaps we can move into a new reality. My sister sent me a video this week of the song If You're Going to San Francisco, along with a montage of hippies with peace signs and flower power signs. There's a difference between talking about peace and actually living as a loving, caring person. Many of the people in the 1960s who purported to be for peace were, in fact, probably just simply very angry people. And they're still angry. We don't want to conflate the message of love and peace with anything other than love and peace. A guy who cut my hair, Thor, also shared a story with me about cutting the hair of Nancy Pelosi in the very chair that he cut my hair in. Unlike Margaret Thatcher, there was a rigorous security protocol before Nancy would even step foot in the salon. But similar to Margaret, Nancy was forthcoming in sharing personal stories. One story she shared was that when she and her husband Paul were looking for a new house in San Francisco, they found one that they really fell in love with in the Pacific Heights area of the city. Until the real estate agent mentioned that Richard Nixon had once lived in the home. Nancy said that was the end of the conversation. She simply turned on her heels, collected Paul, and exited the building. We don't want anything to end our conversation here in Illinois, and we're not going to turn on our heels and exit the building or anything. We're here for the long haul, fighting for a new Illinois and for everything that is bright and beautiful in the world. You don't need to write a song about it, and you don't need to wear any flowers in your hair. Everyone is welcome to join us in Illinois Bridging Awareness. Our Saturday statewide call is every Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video. I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.